Shoot, fire away. Good morning, everybody. Chef Jim Chapman here, your regional chef for the Intuit portfolio. It is my pleasure to be on the Chef's Corner today and share with you a sustainable seafood story. Before that, just like all of our meetings, I want to tell you a little safety topic. If you ever get the opportunity to go on an actual boat on the ocean, the first rule of safety that the captain taught us on the boat was to always have one hand on the boat. So especially when you're walking around, and you'll see in the video, it's a pretty small vessel compared to the ocean, and that trick really helped a lot. So keep one hand on the boat at all times. That's my safety topic today, if you ever get a chance or desire to go fishing on a large vessel. Also like to take this time to remind you that we are doing these Chef's Corners twice a week on Wednesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. And you can find us on the Slack channel, as well as all of the previous recordings of all of the videos that we've done. So if you don't get a chance to finish this one perhaps, or you want to revisit at another time, we are keeping those on Slack for you to check out. So please do so, and you can follow us there. Some housekeeping notes for today. Absolutely, feel free to comment in the chat box. We will get to those after. And after we view the video session, we will take Q&A if we have time for that. So the video is a bit long, so bear with us if we have 30 minutes blocked, but it's a little bit longer than that. If you can stay with us, please do. If not, this recording will be posted, so you can follow up with us then. This is a little bit of a document of an adventure some local chefs and I had with a small business owner who is a a community-supported fishery. In the video, we'll explain what that is and why it's important. But anyway, I created this video based on a trip that we had in the Santa Cruz area recently, and I did a cooking video, and I peppered that in there as well, showing how to use the product and some cool, healthy seafood cooking techniques. So please enjoy. I will see you after the video. Here goes.
Hello everybody, I'm here with Captain Alan Lovewell, the owner of Real Good Fish Company based out of Moss Landing, California, here in the heart of the Monterey Bay seafood area. And I'm asking Captain Alan to tell me about what he does for a living, as he is going to take us fishing and teach us all about why sustainable seafood is important.
Hi, my name is Alan Lovewell. I'm CEO and co-founder of Real Good Fish. I'm also a commercial fisherman. We're going to spend the day looking for some halibut. I got wind yesterday of a bite from one of our fishermen, and we're going to head up north towards Santa Cruz and see what we can find. Weather's been fantastic these past couple days, quintessential fall weather here, and hoping we can jump into the mix of things and find ourselves a few fish.
I think we'll have some good luck today. Tell us a little bit about what your company's all about.
So Real Good Fish is really all about connecting fishermen direct to consumer. Recognizing that most seafood supply chains are incredibly long and circuitous. That is to say that it's not uncommon for seafood to pass through 15 to 20 different hands before it ends up on someone's plate. And the whole idea behind Real Good Fish is to get fish direct from the fisherman and get it direct to someone's house so that they can enjoy it themselves, really cutting out can get higher quality, more traceability, better experience, and overall, better impact for fishermen. That is to say that they get paid better, and for consumers paying a better price for a better product. So ultimately, it's a win-win-win as we see it, and Real Good Fish is really sort of here to create a new future for the way in which we consume seafood, recognizing that we all need to be a little bit more conscious and mindful about how we eat, how we purchase, how we think about our impacts in the world, and seafood, when we think about the health of the ocean, when we think about the well-being of our communities, is really sort of at the heart of impact and how we can make the world a better place.
Well, it sounds like you're doing your part, so let's get out there so we can do ours, all right? Hoist the anchors, matey. Let's do it. Tell us how long you've been doing this.
I started Real Good Fish back in 2012 after having written the business plan in 2009. So, and since inception of this idea, it's been quite some time now, 8 years.
To get the company rolling, but I mean, how long have you been fishing?
I grew up fishing.
You were a commercial fisherman before?
Yeah, I grew up, not commercial fishing. I grew up fishing for striped bass, bluefish, recreationally.
Ocean though, this on the ocean here?
On the ocean in Massachusetts. So I grew up in Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard specifically, and there's a pretty die-hard recreational fishing community there.
Yeah.
And so my father and I grew up, or he raised me, fishing off the docks, and eventually started fly fishing and got really into saltwater fly fishing.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I've spent my whole life on the water, fishing, surfing, sailing. I mean, I've just always been drawn to the ocean.
Yeah.
And I grew up on an island, so I couldn't imagine life.
It's in your blood,
right?
It's
in my blood, yeah.
You're a salty dog already.
Yeah.
So took you about 9 years to get the company off the ground, but what motivated you to do that? Like, why start the company up and do what you're doing now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I was really inspired to start this company because I grew up eating really fresh seafood, and I had a really
hence the name of the company, right?
Yeah, exactly. I knew how good seafood should taste because I was either catching the fish myself, or I knew the fisherman, which happened to often be my friend's father, who was catching the fish. And so having that little bit more information and knowing where the fish was coming from, tied again to the freshness and quality of the product, just made for such a remarkable seafood experience that I didn't realize most of this country has no idea.
You had no clue.
No clue. And so the idea behind the company was to create that opportunity for other people to experience truly fresh and connected and meaningful seafood that was not unlike how I was experiencing it growing up.
Yeah. So you could probably say that the goal, one of your goals with the company, is to bring people the awareness of what fresh fish and what really good seafood products are all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just really about elevating the awareness and appreciation. And when it comes to foods, I just can't imagine, and I'm obviously biased to the statement, but I can't imagine a more exciting and thrilling and delicious food.
It totally makes sense why you would do something like this, to bring this amazing food to people and bring the awareness about eating it and consuming it. But what I want to ask you about is, what's your take or your passion or your message, however you want to state it, about the importance of the sustainability end of what you do for a living?
Absolutely. The sustainability of what we're doing is really kind of what it's all about. On one hand, like I mentioned, I'm really interested in providing an incredible seafood experience, right? Like one like I was growing up. But actually, the impetus of starting this company and doing what I do was to address the sustainability of our ocean resources and the ways in which we think about the ocean, not as a, you know, massive body of water that, you know, someone else should be taking care of and we just sort of passively participate in seafood consumption, trusting other people's judgments. It's really a little bit more about people being brought to the realization that we are active participants in sustainability and that we as individuals have the ability to help steer and navigate, you know, sustainable outcomes towards, you know, how we're treating our oceans. And so when it comes to, you know, some simple concepts around, you know, best practices for eating seafood, you know, there's a couple things that we do at Real Good Fish that I would say are different than most seafood companies, if not all. You know, diversity is huge, and the idea that we can eat a lot of different things from the ocean is more important and really impactful than, say, targeting only a few species of fish, say like salmon, tuna, codfish, shrimp, you know, species that are just heavily exploited because our palates and our expectations are only aligned within a few species that put a tremendous amount of pressure on that resource.
Right.
So if we can spread out our impact and say, eat 40 different types of species, your impact is now on any given species way less than what you would experience, again, and from an ocean standpoint, what the ocean would experience, you know, if you're just targeting one specific species.
Well, one thing that you guys do that I find it's very cool and a great way to learn about different species is in your delivery packages from the Real Good Fish Company that deliver directly to people's homes. It's kind of like a farm box in that, you know, you don't always get to pick everything that's in there. I mean, you could do custom ones too, but when you pick the kits or the boxes that you guys have set up, you're kind of getting what you guys just caught probably that week or the week before probably.
Right.
And it could be something that maybe I wouldn't buy at the grocery store. So I know I've seen your website. It's got a lot of great information about all kinds of species. So what a great education tool. You know, you not only get to eat great food that's caught by local fishermen, supporting a small business like yours.
Right.
Everything that you guys provide is sustainably caught. And I want you to tell us a little more about it, but this leads into my next question. Like, how do you determine what kind of seafood that you're going after on a day like today? What are some of the things that help you with that decision? You know, each day you go out could be different. Obviously, seasons change and all that stuff, but on any given day, you know, how do you decide what you're going after?
Yeah, I mean, I think if, you know, you could boil it down into, you know, one idea, which is what nature is providing us. I think rather than forcing, you know, consumptive habits or, you know, eating things that need to be flown all the way around the world to enjoy it, you know, our idea is that we should just be eating what is abundant right now.
Right.
And if
so
it's
whatever's biting.
Whatever's biting, you know. You know, yesterday we were fishing for rockfish and lingcod, and one of our fishermen, you know, sent me some text messages about halibut being caught here where we are now, and so that's why we're here. We're here right now looking for halibut because that's what's biting.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going around trying to chase some salmon somewhere that aren't to be found. You know, we're chasing the halibut that are here now and for this moment, and you know, and we'll go home and we'll enjoy that.
Yeah,
so
we've already caught a couple, so
and
that
how
makes
much more gratifying is that? You know what I mean? Like to know that you get to be direct benefactor of not only, you know, the cooking and fruits of your labor, but also the catching of that fish as well. So,
we're all looking forward to doing that, and you know, not being a commercial fisherman or even someone that fishes a lot, just seeing it being harvested in the right way, it's very inspiring as a chef. Now I want to go and prepare that food and someday bring it to my guests or whatever this experience is. So we're documenting it today, and you know, all the chefs and I on the boat today are really enjoying the education that you're providing just by having our back and forth discussions on our trip today. So thanks for answering those questions, and we'll come back with some more later.
Absolutely.
Going for for sand dabs.
So
I'm not even kidding. This is real fish. Well, you asked for 40, didn't
It's
you?
real good fish.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh. Shark coming right at the boat. Look at that. Holy cow. I was in the building. Hello. That's a baby shark too. Wow. No way. Awesome. All right, so Alan's going to tell us a little bit about the volume that they do here at Real Good Fish Company. He is not only the owner, but he's one of the captains. Go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Jim. And again, it's an awesome day on the water. You really couldn't have asked for much more. We got fish. We got incredible weather. We got to see some great whites, and really, it's kind of a remarkable place we live. Nice to be able to spend a day like this out there. Here we are at the processing plant, and this is sort of where the ocean meets the land, really, in terms of taking the fish that we catch off the boats, processing it here through one of these tables. We can do we do a lot more, but we're doing around 4,000 to 6,000 pounds of locally caught fish per week. And, that's been a steady growth since back in the day when we were operating out of the back of a little restaurant. So, we've really seen a lot of interest both on the fisherman side and the consumer side, which is, getting us to grow and showing that people are getting really excited about what we have to offer. On the other side of the building, where all the packaging and all the shipping takes place. And so, over here is sort of the dry area where we're putting together everyone's orders. We are primarily a direct-to-consumer business. That is to say that 95% of what we do is ship the freshest seafood direct to individuals and families at home. And given COVID, obviously this has been a really important thing to be doing right now. But we're also involved with a lot of wholesale and institutional sales, so we service the UC system. We have a lot of corporate accounts over the hill. We service a lot of restaurants up and down the coast. So we are diversified. We are doing a lot of different things. But again, primarily we're all about connecting consumers directly with the source of their product. And then we provide an array of seafood species like salmon, which everyone loves, king salmon, halibut, which we just caught today, albacore, which we just had a great little season here. We'll be getting into Dungeness crab season, a lot of sort of bread and butter species of the West Coast, as well as some of the weird stuff that people aren't familiar with, things like anchovies or sardines or sand dabs that you all enjoy when you go home. So we're really interested in offering sort of the plethora, the bounty of what's available here on the coast.
Well, I got to tell you, Alan, since we've been friends for the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to watch the business grow from a distance, but it's really impressive what you're doing. And given that you're a small local business, the importance of community is really huge for a lot of companies, and I'm sure you guys are doing that as well. So can you tell us a little bit of what you do to be an active member of the community as far as like providing relief from disasters or anything like that, or do you do any other kind of charitable pieces as part of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Arguably, the foundation of this company was built on sustainability and integrating community into our fishing, our seafood, and really sort of building a holistic system for people getting more connected and getting to know the ocean a little bit more. And part of that is reaching parts of the community that would otherwise not typically be involved with, what we think of in terms of, working waterfronts or ocean economies and those sorts of things. And so back in 2015, we started a program called Bay to Tray, which was all about getting local fish that we run through here and getting it to local schools to serve through school nutrition programs. And that Bay to Tray program was really at the heart of, again, looking at impact that local seafood could have on a community of a segment of our community that is usually forgotten. About 60% or so of school children in California live at or below the poverty line and qualify for free or reduced meals. It's kind of crazy to think, that such a large percentage of students are not really food secure. And so thinking about the nutrition of seafood, thinking about the connection again to the ocean that we're trying to make, it really made sense to build that bridge to get kids thinking more deeply about the fish as well as enjoying the nutritious and delicious qualities of this fish. In addition, bringing local fishermen into the schools to teach these kids about their jobs, to teach them about what it takes to be a fisherman, to educate these children on this industry that arguably is struggling in this country, as we see a lot more imports coming into this country because of a lot cheaper product. So that's the foundation, I would say, of our social programs. But since COVID, we've started to look and branch out into other arenas when it comes to impact. And we had the fires here that ravaged this whole state. We were involved with feeding a lot of the displaced families and individuals who had to flee from their homes as the fires were taking over the hillsides and mountains. So we're a big part of that. We also did some donations when the schools closed down. As part of our beta trade program, we're trying to figure out what do we do with all this fish. We just realized that some of what we can do is donate some of this fish to the local meal programs that we're serving students and families with food. So we're really interested in looking at the ways in which we can build that bridge from local fishermen, again, not just individuals and families at home, but also just the broader community and how we think about the service that seafood can provide.
That's awesome. And one of the questions that you just made me think of is, what do you do with all the, let's just call it byproduct or waste from butchering? I know that bones can be reused, but guts can. Is there a program that you guys do to either compost or recycle byproducts of your business?
Yeah. The first thing is just reducing waste. And the number one way in which we do that is our customer base is primarily subscription based, which means that these folks are ordering their seafood ahead of time. What that means for us is that we have a predictable demand for fish that we are not holding right now, but we are going to catch in anticipation for those orders. The traditional supply chain catches a whole bunch of fish and then hopes that the market and the consumers will absorb that. Well, there's a tremendous amount of waste that's generated because of all the guesswork that's going into catching fish first, hoping to find the market later. We're doing it the other way. We found the market first, we're catching the fish to fill the market. So number one way to reduce waste. The second is in the cutting process and the utilization of the fish, trying to figure out all the different products and all the different ways we can use offcuts. The fish bones, the trimmings, all those things can be turned into products. We have an amazing program making salmon burgers, sea bass burgers, rockfish burgers, halibut burgers, by fish that would otherwise, or cuts of the fish that would otherwise be wasted because it's not that premium fillet. We have a machine that's turning that into burger meat, and we can make these incredible burgers. They're marinated, seasoned, and sell that product, utilizing most of the fish, cutting the waste in half, if not more, and feeding people. And then in addition, anything that we are going to throw away, anything that doesn't have any human use to it, actually ends up going to a fertilizer plant that uses it to feed organic agricultural operations. So we're really sort of thinking holistically about how are we extracting, a resource, turning it into the most value, the most good possible in our community.
That's awesome, man. It's really great to hear that you guys are thinking about that as a whole circle. And to bring the day whole circle, on behalf of myself and the chef guests that came with me today, we can't thank you enough for showing us and taking us out and showing us part of your office, or if you will, or what you do every day and why it's important, and giving us an education as well. Really look forward to having you on site whenever we can do that, so so that way you can help educate our customers that are going to actually be we're going to be serving your products too as well. So looking forward to a long partnership. This is the cherry on the Sunday, if you will, to be able to go out fishing as part of work. So on behalf of the chefs and I, thank you so much for having us today. Really had a great time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and absolutely thank you guys for doing what you do, and absolutely look forward to keeping this going and figuring out ways to make some really good impact in the process.
We will. And we're gonna spread the word and share your message. So thanks for making a good message for us to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Alan.
It's National Seafood Month again. Why is that important, you ask? Because seafood is one of our favorite things to eat, and demand grows, so does the need for commercial fishing to get us those products. If commercial fishing is not done in a sustainable way, the effects on the environment could be so damaging that someday the oceans may not recover from overfishing and the fishing techniques that harm the ocean. The efforts of community-supported fisheries in recent years have shown great improvement in the way seafood is brought to our tables. Community-supported fisheries follow the strict guidelines set out by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, as well as get the products into our kitchens with as little middlemen as possible. So if you like seafood, find out where to purchase from your local CSF and make sure that you buy seafood there so that the money goes back to the fishermen that follow these rules because they care about our environment. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare this fantastic fish that we got out of Monterey Bay less than 20 miles from our home just less than 24 hours ago. So the technique that I'm going to show you guys today is called in papillote, or in paper. It's a classic French dish that's used, it's basically like creating a steamer in your own oven. So it's a real healthy technique. We're going to be using this wonderful halibut that we caught yesterday. I'm going to show you how to assemble it, but here are the basic ingredients that I'm going to use for our dinner tonight. You can put a large variation of different things into the same technique. It doesn't necessarily just have to be fish. This can also be used for chicken or pork chops or shrimp or any kind of seafood that you have. But the important part to remember is that whatever we're putting into the package has to be kind of on the thin side, so that way it will steam in the same amount of time that it actually takes to cook the protein. But all of it's cooking together, so all the juices are coming together. It just creates a really wonderful flavor without adding a lot of fat or salt or sugar to your diet whatsoever. So we are going to use very little salt in the dish. I'm using kosher salt here because we are going to use green olives today and capers, which are very high in salt content. So I'm going to be really careful about the salt. We're going to put some fresh cracked pepper on there at the end as well. Our fat for the dish is going to be extra virgin olive oil. So basically, classically this is usually prepared with potatoes sliced very thin. But I got these wonderful butternut squash out of our garden this year, so I'm going to put these to good use and do a seasonal variation of in papillote with the halibut. A little bit of citrus for some acid. There's the potatoes that I would normally use, and I would cut this probably in 5 or 6 slices, so really thin, so that way it steams in the bottom of the pan. A little bit of onion for aromatics, as well as the carrots. And then one important tool that you're going to need is parchment paper. I got this parchment paper on Amazon. It fits my half sheet pans perfectly, so I use it quite a bit at home. Why is that important to you? Because part of the technique is this is going to be how we're going to be creating our pouch. So let me get all these vegetables prepared, and then I'll show you how to do the assembly. So I went out to the garden, I grabbed some herbs that I had out there that's fresh, so we can add those to the packets too, so it'll help perfume. This is called pineapple sage, and look at all the beautiful flowers that are on there right now. And if you rub it actually has kind of a pineapple and sage aroma to it. So I thought that'd be kind of cool to go with the dish that we're doing today. And I got some fresh rosemary. We're going to remove these after we finish cooking them, but at least they'll be inside the packet and they'll help to flavor, if you will, the pack. So we're going to go ahead and take our parchment paper. I'm doing 4 of these today. We have 5 people in the house, and I did one earlier. This is what they look like. So all you do is you fold the paper in half. Got my pan ready to go in the oven. This is a good time to start the oven too, I should say. 350 degrees. We're going to bake these for about 20 to 25 minutes. I will check them with a thermometer to make sure, but within 25 minutes in that steam, this is like 4 or 5 ounces of halibut. Should be not a problem at all for the amount of time cooking. But again, it will vary depending on what you're putting in the pouch, so and how thick it's cut also. So we have our half sheets
facing us. You can line these all up and do them all at once, or you can do a couple at a time, or you can do them one at a time if you want. And either way, this is how I'm doing it. So a nice thin layer of the butternut squash. You can see how big I cut this, right? It's no thicker than the fish for sure. It's really light. So I'm just doing a thin layer. You don't want to stack it too high because you want it to cook in the amount of time that we're going to be in. So I'm using the starch, if you will. So if this was potatoes, this would be on the bottom. We're doing butternut squash today. All right, and then the vegetable is carrots. So I'm going to put those on the bottom as well. Because what's going to happen is all the juice from the fish and the spinach, I put some spinach leaves in there. The liquid's going to come out of these, and it's going to help to steam and cook the potato or butternut squash or whatever starch you're putting in there. I'm just tearing the stems off of these leaves and then setting them on there. This is nice, all organic products. We got some at the farmer's market, some of it at the local grocer who has a great organic section. For salinity, I'm going to go with a little bit of capers, and if this stuff doesn't pile up perfectly, guys, don't worry about it. It's all going to be in the pouch, and when you open it, it'll still be in there, so it's all good. So I took our capers and olives, kind of breaking them up a little bit with my hand, and again, this is going to flavor the dish throughout with the steam. So I put a couple olives, a couple capers, a little pinch of capers in there, get you an idea. Alright, so then we're going to put our fish on top of that, just like so. Alright, a little bit of salt. Don't forget capers, and the olives have a good amount of salt in there. And then some more aromatics, so today I have shallots, but you can use green onions, yellow onions, whatever kind of aromatics, vegetables you like. Got some great lemons. So the trick to this one is you just give it a little squeeze. Alright, you lay those on there. 2 slices per. That juice is also going to help in the cooking process. Okay. Now is the time where I go with a piece of rosemary, a couple leaves of the beautiful pineapple sage in there. Oops. Just like that. I'll show you guys how to roll these up. As you can tell, it doesn't take a lot of technique. It really doesn't matter what order these all go in. This is just the way I do it. I like to put the protein on top. So we got the salt on there now. We're going to put a little bit of cracked pepper. You can do whatever seasoning you like, whatever herbs you like. And no real strict rules. Then a good little drizzle of olive oil on there. And then we're going to fold them up. I'm going to remove my gloves here just because it's a little easier to fold without them. Alright, so I'm going to take this because I found it easier that if I turned it away from me, fold it in half like that, and make sure everything's tucked in. Okay, and then you just pick one side to start from, and you start folding. Remember when we used to make paper airplanes? Kind of a similar thing, just keep folding it over each other. And as you go around, making sure the pieces stay together. What you're doing here is you're creating a seal. And once all those juices heat up, we're going to create a steam pouch. All right, so this is nice and tight, and then at the end, I'm going to just fold this piece over kind of underneath here. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, but I lifted it up, twisted it, squeeze it down, and that will stay. Now, it's going to puff up in the oven. Notice I didn't put any vent holes or anything like that in there because I want it to steam and make sure that it stays sealed. Right? So now we'll knock this one out. And we're just folding. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, we don't see this a ton in restaurants because it's a real rustic presentation, but we like to use it at home again because everything's in one pouch. You can assemble these a little bit ahead of time if you need to for saving time, and then just pop them in the oven when it's dinner time. All right, you can see how simple that is. Okay. So we just did 3 of those. I'm going to do a couple more, and then we'll pop them in the oven for about 25 minutes, and I'll show you guys what they look like when they come out. Okay, these just came out of the oven, 350 degrees. I checked them with a digital thermometer, so I know that they're ready. You can put these on a plate for your family and just let them, simply just cut them open. The steam's gonna come out. You just open them up like that to some scissors. One way to do it. I let these rest for a couple minutes just so it wasn't smoking hot. And then, just put them on a plate and everybody can eat them.
But you can also go ahead and open them up and make a nice plate presentation out of it, which I'm going to show you how to do right now. I just kind of leave it all in there so that the juices are all collected. I'm going to remove the rosemary because you can't eat that, but ooh, wow, you can really smell the flavor of that. So it made a big impact. The pineapple sage is in there and the spinach, so we're going to leave it. I'm going to take a simple spoon and I'm going to move the fish and the lemons aside. Like that, push all the other kind of ingredients over, and now I'm going to create a plate presentation for you guys. So, just kind of scoop it up. You want the juices, so we're going to add that later, but I go with usually the starch on the bottom, so I'm going to try and get that butternut squash on there. I got my fancy fish plate, but you can use a white plate as well. It shows really nicely, but I like to use my fish plates because, hey, National Seafood Month, and this is a fish dish. All right, I'm going to kick those lemons off to the side. I'm going to grab my fillet and just kind of put it on top. It's the star of the show. That's the sage right there. All right, so I have some olives and capers and a little bit of the spinach here. And go with that right on top. Try and scoop up some of that juice so it kind of redresses the fish. Okay, like that. And then I take the lemons and I squeeze them. Squeeze. You can eat these, they're cooked. You can leave them on there for plate presentation if you want. They're a little bit bitter sometimes because of the pith, but when you grill lemons, it's really good to eat. So for this, I'm going to squeeze the lemons on top, just go like that. Move that off to the side. Remove my gloves real quick. Now, you can add a little bit of more extra virgin olive oil if you want. This is ready to go. You don't need to touch it. We've already seasoned it. There's lots of great flavors going on there. Very healthy. But if you wanted to, you can go with a little drizzle, just to make everything a little more shiny. And if you like, season it your own way. And again, it looks really pretty. Got my nice flowers there as a garnish. And that's the finished product. Simple, easy to do at home. Hope you like this technique. You can definitely, like I said, use it for other things other than seafood, but it's a nice simple meal at home that we love to eat, and it's healthy, so there's nothing wrong with that. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for joining us today. Check it out.
And the frogs take us home. What'd you guys think?
That's fantastic.
Thank you. It was fun, as you well know. So I don't see that we have a guest on the phone here. Or is this just us? I'm not sure if anybody. Okay, so this is the part we have any questions. I know it was a long video. Any questions about the cooking or the trip or anything at all? Anybody have any comments? Now's the time to go ahead and take yourself off of mute or use the chat box if you like. Now's the time. So yeah, a couple points that I think are worthy of highlighting. I mean, who gets to see a great white shark that's less than 5 feet away from you? That was pretty bizarre. There's an area off the coast there that they like to hang out, so we kind of knew they were going to be there. It was cool. It was really cool to see that. But just learning everything that Alan had to offer and the service that they provide and the whole reason behind it is just an incredible story. They were very generous enough to offer this trip to us and take a couple chefs out there and get them involved in the movement as well, and just had a beautiful day out in Monterey Bay. Some of the cool things that they are doing, before COVID, obviously they were supplying fish for kids' schools that had a need. So there's some great charitable kudos to them for doing that. And then just the idea behind the service. I'm not sure how many of you on the call eat a lot of seafood, but if you know, it's a very healthy protein. it's easy to find seafood, but finding local seafood is a little bit more challenging. And his company, the way they do it, it makes it very simple. The boxes can be delivered to your home weekly or monthly, and it's pretty much what they catch. You can go on their website and order, what they have on their quote unquote menu, but it's all stuff that they're catching now. They're not catching salmon and holding them in the freezer for 6 months until there's a need. They're basically bringing in fish that people ordered already. If they catch a little extra, then they have more to offer. So it's to me, a real simple way to get local sustainable seafood into your homes. Well, I know we started doing it at my house, and it kind of forces us to eat more fish because, we get the package and it's like, all right, we got all this stuff. Let's put it on the menu here at home and let's eat it. So we've been partaking in a lot more seafood than we had been in the past because of it. And the price is very reasonable considering that they bring it to your door, and sometimes it's not even frozen. It's so fresh. That's pretty incredible. I think the box that I get is $118 a month, and it's got both local meats and seafood in it. I opted for that just because, we eat both here in our home. So, some nice local lamb chops for one dinner, and then you have some, Dungeness crab the next, and it's all part of the same package. So check that out. Check the chat box one more time. Great job. All right, thank you. Yeah, I learned some stuff. I think we can end the recording now, guys. Whoever's got the button, go right ahead. Thank you, guys. See you next time. And then you can say goodnight. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it.